Next guest we bring onto the show is driver of the 45 Chevy for Alpha Prime Racing at the NASCAR Xfinity level, Mason Massey. Welcome to the show, Mason. Appreciate you joining.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. This is your first year with Alpha Prime. Had Parker on the show twice earlier this year. Sounds like you guys are building something over there. How has that process been?
It's a long process for sure. I went to Alpha Prime because I was able to see the potential that they have, and I know Tommy Joe really well, and I know that he wants to be a big team and he wants to run good, and so I have the same aspirations. So I kind of thought it'd be a good fit. So I went over there and uh, I'm in the third car, the 45 car, and we've had some good runs. We've had to work some kinks out of it. Had to change crew chiefs a couple times, which is always a hard thing to deal with in the shop and at the racetrack and everything. And um, had some good runs. Like we went to Bristol and we had a hard time in the first stage there, but after the first stage, man, we were actually running top 15 lap times the whole race after that. So I was really happy with that, and that kind of showed potential for us. So we'll keep building on it. Um, it was a hard time at Nashville. That was a rough weekend, but I know we'll keep working on it, and we'll be good for Pocono.
Yeah, 10-4. Appreciate you touching on those changes. Before we get into Nashville, you had your best finish of the year, coming 21st in Texas at the beginning of May. You started 32nd and worked your way to the 26th spot going into the final stage. How did you navigate those two overtimes to secure that P21 finish? And how were you feeling leaving the track?
Yeah, so Texas is always interesting because obviously they've had some big wrecks and had some crazy races there in the past, and I knew going into it that it was going to be wild, and we had to be there at the end. And honestly, we had a couple things off in the front end there as well that we had to work on, and I was just doing what I could, um, trying to salvage a good day out of it. And had a decent car on the short run, but the longer that we went, it just kept getting worse and worse for me. So um, I knew what we had, and I knew what the goal was. It was to bring it home in one piece and to finish the race and just do what I can. And working through the field, I mean, I've always felt pretty good at Texas. I've always felt like I get around there good. So I was kind of using some of the things I know to do there through one and two, almost kind of running a diamond and able to get a run on guys off of two and get by them. Um, and the restarts at the end obviously were nuts, and we had a hard time getting back in the lead lap. Just kept having some bad breaks there. I felt like we salvaged what we could out of it though, and ended up being a decent day for us.
Gotcha. Appreciate those details. Yeah, the watching on TV, those restarts at the end seem nuts. I appreciate the insight from the cockpit there. You mentioned Nashville. You were there last Saturday. You started your day being 31st fastest in practice, qualifying 38th. What did you learn about the car before the green flag?
Um, yeah, I was really disappointed in qualifying. Obviously, we were just way off the pace, but we just had the nose hitting the ground, and it would just kind of make the car not be able to turn. So I went off into turn one for qualifying, and I knew we had an issue right there. So I had to kind of fix that, and actually led over to the first stage. We had the same issue going on there, and we fell way behind the pack. But after that, um, we loaded the front end up with some Packer, got it off the ground. So after that, we was able to work on it, and ended up making it better throughout the race. I was able to work my way up a little bit, and I don't know. It was a tough weekend, but I was really happy with the changes that we made throughout the race to get it competitive. And I feel like at the end of the race, we were halfway decent. So was really proud of everybody there, and was really happy to salvage a 24th out of it.
Yeah, you mentioned it was a tough weekend, just like you said. It was, you did get a 24th finish out of it. How were you feeling leaving the track?
I was happy with the finish. Obviously, as a driver, you want to run a little better. I got all the faith in the world on my team, though, and just it was my first time working with our new crew chief, and I felt like the changes that we made, I was actually really proud of, and just being able to have the trust in my crew chief that he can make that happen throughout the race. It was a positive. You always want to run better, so we're going to go to Pocono loaded up and hopefully get a top 20 there.
Heck yeah, hopefully you can keep that momentum going. Nashville was your third top 25 finish in a row. In all of your starts so far this year, you started 30th and on back, but all of your finishes, besides just one, have been in the 20s. What has been your key to the consistency and gaining that track position?
Yeah, I think part of it is just experience and our restarts. Having to know when to be aggressive, and I don't know, when you get a sense of something maybe bad about to happen, you kind of back off and let it happen. It's just bringing the car home, and I feel like I've always done a really good job with that. And we've been doing that, so now I feel like we need to work on the speed a little bit. So once we do that, I feel like we'll be good to go and be finishing in the high teens, hopefully. And I got all the faith in the world in my team. I know everyone at Alpha Prime is working super hard, and we'll get it figured out soon for sure.
Awesome. Sounds like a good combination you got over there in Alpha Prime. Last question in non-racing. You've spoken out about awareness, about stuttering. That is something that my brother and I have dealt with our whole lives and continue to work on, especially when recording this show. Thank you for bringing more awareness to people that stutter. And what has that journey meant to you?
It's been interesting. Honestly, before I spoke out about it, really didn't ever talk to anybody about it. I just honestly tried to hide it for, I'd say, most of my life. And you know how it is through the teen years. It's a hard thing when you're trying to make friends, and you're learning a lot about yourself in that time, and you feel kind of different because you have a stutter, and you don't hardly meet anybody else that has a stutter, so you kind of think you're the only one. So it can be hard during all the teen years and when you're young. But as I've gotten older, I just felt like I wanted to speak about it, and I wanted to help people see that even if you do have a challenge like this, you can still follow your dreams. And um, I always tried to not let it hold me back, and honestly feel like it's the reason I made it here to where I am. So I just wanted to help people, and it was really cool after I spoke out about it. Um, I actually had a lot of DMs from people who have a stutter, and they wanted to have a phone conversation, wanted to talk about it, and I was happy to do that. So it was really cool to talk to people, um, and to learn about other people's other people that have a stutter and what they go through in their life and what they do. And I'm really happy I spoke out, and I've been able to meet a lot of cool people because of it.
Yeah, like I was just saying before we got on the call, um, that just dealing with that throughout our whole lives, you see too many people, especially in sports and stuff. So really cool that you spoke out about that. Really appreciate that, and being from New Jersey, can't wait to see you at the track in Pocono. I'll be there the whole weekend, and really appreciate you having on the show again.
Hey man, I appreciate it. I'll be at Pocono, so looking forward to seeing you there, man.
Yeah, sounds great. I'll see you on the track, and safe travels then. All right.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Thank
Yep,
you.
you too. Thanks, Mason.
Thanks.